on est d'accord, c'est qui?
C'est l'équipe de France.
Un collectif métissé, unifié, motivé, c'est qui?
C'est l'équipe de France.
L'esprit d'équipe, du beau jeu, du partage et de l'envie, c'est qui?
C'est l'équipe de France.
Ils font danser le ballon sur le terrain, c'est qui?
L'équipe de France dans la barre. On est tous unis pour l'équipe de France. Pour qu'ils continuent d'y croire et d'espérer ensemble.
Ils veulent la victoire.
On est tous unis pour l'équipe de France. Pour qu'ils continuent d'y croire et d'espérer ensemble.
Your source for sports and entertainment. European qualifiers, the qualifiers for Europe 2012, which will be hosted in Ukraine and Poland. Okay, last Friday we saw France go up against Luxembourg, a very lackluster Luxembourg squad. Now the match was held in Luxembourg. Nevertheless, the stadium is very small. I think it's even smaller than the Home Depot Center, and that's relatively small for a stadium. Now, this was a very tough game for France. Very difficult Luxembourg side, as in their defense. All 11 guys in the back, defending the whole time. I can see it took France a long time moving around the ball, moving their players as in like chess pieces, getting those spaces in between. The first goal that we saw actually came from a set piece, from a free kick. And Philippe Mexis was there to header it in at the 28th minute of the first half. And that put the score 1-0 in favor of France. Now, most of the game was like that, where they battled just to try to move those 11 guys around. In this game, it marked the return of Franck Ribéry and Patrice Evra from exile after what happened in the big fiasco in South Africa. This marked the return. And coach Laurent Blanc actually found it more convenient to bring them in as starters rather than doing that at home on the road. He found it more convenient to bring them in. And Ribéry had a pretty good game, a lot of great runs and great passing, and then he just broke out after a while. And the one thing that's being said now is they're competing over who's going to get that right side between Ribéry and Malouda, because they both play on that right side, and when they're starting to play on the left side, they lose a lot of their spark, a lot of their magic that they add to the team. Now, that's going to be the big controversy. Who's going to start? Who's going to get that top spot there? Who's going to get the right side? I can give big props to Luxembourg for complicating the game for Les Bleus. Just all 11 guys, defending. Players to watch for France, I thought Bakary Sagna had an awesome game. Great player. Arsenal is lucky to have this guy. Just a great young player. A lot of stops during the second half when there was a counterattack. I saw Sagna actually make a stop. Beautiful stop. Actually touches it. And he didn't commit the foul. He got to the ball first and leaves it off to the corner kick. But just great player overall. Great player. In the second half is when we saw the other goal by France, which made the final score 2-0. Happened at the 72nd minute. A pass came to Yoann Gourcuff, and he just got it in there. Score 2-0. And Gourcuff actually scored on the last time that they played Luxembourg, and now he scored on them again. Great player, Gourcuff. Overall, just always brings his top A game for France all the time. Now, coming down to the stats in this game. Shots, 5 for Luxembourg and 10 for France. Fouls, 8 for Luxembourg and 11 for France. So that was quite a lot for Les Bleus on fouls. Corner kicks, there was none for Luxembourg and 6 for France. Offsides, there was 0 for Luxembourg and 8 for France. As in possession, this is fairly close. 49% for Luxembourg and 51% for France. Now, yellow cards, 1 for Luxembourg, none for France. Red cards, neither had. And saves, 7 for Luxembourg and 3 for France. Now, as far as the possession, this Luxembourg side with their 11 guys defending actually did complicate the game and did get some possession, but none really concrete with any hard attacks. So, what's next for Les Bleus? Their next qualifier for the 2012 Euro Cup is going to be on June 3rd of this year. It's going to be at Belarus, where they get a chance to get a measure of revenge, of payback for the loss they had in the Stade De France. So let's see how that goes for Coach Laurent Blanc. Let's see what will happen, if he will call up any new players, or will he run with this base that he's been working with for a while.
Ah, le ballon là, récupéré. Oh, Thuram qui vient chipper le ballon. La remise pour Thuram, l'égalisation. L'égalisation de Lilian Thuram. Oh, quel but. Oh, il en revient pas, Lilian Thuram. Ah, d'ailleurs, je pense que
c'est pas possible, ça, il dit.
Il en croit pas ses yeux. Il en croit pas ses yeux.
Happened on this past Tuesday. After the qualifier for Euro 2012, France had an exhibition game during this whole stretch of FIFA week. They had an exhibition game against Croatia. Famously, France had a game against Croatia in the same Stade De France 13 years ago, which brings us all back to great memories of the 1998 World Cup, in which Lilian Thuram scores those 2 goals in heroic fashion after making an error defensive judgment and leaving Davor Suker on side, and there he goes, comes back and scores his first 2 goals for Les Bleus, and the only 2 goals of that game in which France defeated Croatia 2-1 and went on to the World Cup final in which they defeated Brazil. Now, 13 years later, they play a match again in the Stade De France, and one thing that caught the eye and the attention of all the people here was the matchup, not the teams exactly, but the coaches. This is the first time that Laurent Blanc and Slaven Bilic saw each other since that famous game in which Laurent Blanc was sent off with a red card for the shove or the poke in the eye, and he was sent off in that game. And this is the first time they saw each other since then, and they've made amends since then. Laurent Blanc has acknowledged that he made a mistake, that he should have thought better in the moment rather than lose his cool. But overall, this match ended in a scoreless draw, in which, you know, for a fan who really wants to see a lot of scoring and a lot of attempts, really left a lot to desire from, but it's a learning experience. That's why they have these exhibition games, or friendlies as they call them. Now, this was a very tough Croatian side, and I can tell you that the first half really did belong to Croatia. They came along with these dangerous attempts, and Hugo Lloris was in quite some danger there. I actually saw him jump a few times and deflect a few shots there. The first half did belong for Croatia. Now, I thought that this Croatian side was so complicated that it brought out the worst in Florent Maluda. Maluda had quite a lot of fouls in this game, and I thought at certain points he would receive a double yellow or a direct red. At one point he tried to go for a shot attempt in which he hits the Croatian keeper, and the Croatian keeper doesn't look the same after that hit, and he doesn't even return for the second half. He's switched for his backup, and just Florent Maluda looked really out of place, and just a lot of fouls. He's very aggressive Maluda, kind of things we don't see often from this great player. Now, there was a lot of wasted shots by Les Bleus, just shots that you really would think they would make. One near the end of the match where Benzema gets a center pass, and all he needs to do is angle it in the right way, and that's it, it's a score. But he couldn't get his leg placed in the right direction, and he sends it into the stands, and you could actually see the fans in the background anticipating, and they're like, no. So it's a wasted opportunity. One of the best shots they had was from Adil Rami, who actually throws a shot that goes up and hits the post closest one, I could see the Croatian keeper look back and see it hit the post. And, just a wasted opportunity there. Fans reacted and they stopped. No, it didn't. In this game, Ribéry and Evra were there, but Evra did not play. Ribéry came in as a substitute in the second half. It was interesting enough how he was received. He was received by a mixture of either angry whistles, a volley of angry whistles, and some cheers. So there are some section of the people who have forgiven Ribéry for the incidences in South Africa. But he was greeted with some negative comments by the fans. It's interesting to see when you see Sako come in the second half, and he's received with immense joy, and every time he touches a ball, the fans begin to cheer for the Paris Saint-Germain player, being that they're playing in Paris. You know, that he's being greeted by the home fans. It shows how the club teams fans goes really into the national team fans. But overall, he was greeted well. Ribéry was greeted with mixed reactions. Players to watch in this game, I thought Samir Nasri had a great game. He actually came out with the captain's armband for both games. He started both games. In this game, he was kind of irrelevant in the first half, and in the second half, he began making a lot of runs, a lot of attempts at goal. And I think that maybe he had turned it up earlier, the score would have been a lot different. But he decided to turn it up at the end, and it was too little too late, basically. But good player, Arsenal, another Arsenal player is lucky to have this guy. Just overall great player, future for the Bleus. Great player. Could not say enough about this guy. Now, the next exhibition game for France will be against Poland on June 6th. This will come after the next Euro 2012 qualifier. So they're going to be at Poland, another road game. And this is going to be a tough test. Poland is never easy to deal with at home. Rowdy crowd. Now, in this match, coming down to the stats, there was 18 shots for France and 8 for Croatia. 13 fouls for France and 19 for Croatia. Corner kicks, there was 6 for France and 2 for Croatia. Offsides, 1 for France and 3 for Croatia. In possession, there was 57% for France and 43% for Croatia. Croatia began to back up in their defensive area during the second half, which is why this stat shows that France had more possession. In the second half, they had a lot more possession. Now, yellow cards, it was 2 for France and 4 for Croatia. Red cards, neither team had any. Saves, 1 for France, 3 for Croatia. So, this is a tough game for the Bleus. Very complicated Croatian side, very good Croatian side. Slaven Bilic has done a good job with this team. They have an excellent record with him. And I think there's just really good things to come for Croatia. For France as well, I heard some people saying that they're penned to be one of the favorites for the Euro Cup in 2012. And let's hope so, you know. Good young team, coach that knows how to do things right. And just hoping the best for this team. And just overall, I think it'll be a great Euro Cup. Spain is coming out on top again. Good for the world champions and the defending Euro Cup champions. Once more, if you see a glaring on the side of me here, I'm actually watching a Private School with Phoebe Cates. Great movie. I'd recommend it to everybody who love comedy. Yeah, we're still not past some of those really good scenes yet. But everyone subscribe. Stay tuned. There's going to be something big about Manny Pacquiao and Shane Mosley, so if you want to see something about that, stay tuned. I'll have that soon enough. Subscribe, everyone, and